I left Denver that afternoon after visiting my brother and planned to drive straight through to Missouri. It was the kind of trip I'd done before. Energy drinks in the cup holder, low music on the radio, cruise control set just under 80, and miles of dark road stretching ahead. Normal, boring even. My name's Ryan, and at the time I was 29. I sold medical equipment, which meant I spent more time in my car than I did in my apartment. Long drives never bothered me. I actually liked them. There's something calming about being alone on the road at night, when the rest of the world feels switched off and all you have to do is follow the headlights. That night started exactly like that. Empty road, flat land on both sides, occasional signs for tiny towns I'd never heard of, the radio fading in and out every few miles. Nothing unusual. Around 12:30, I noticed my gas was lower than I expected. Not dangerously low, but lower than it should have been. I remember frowning at the dashboard because I was almost sure I'd filled up less than 2 hours earlier. I even did the math in my head. My car usually had decent mileage, and there was no reason the tank should have dropped that fast. I told myself I'd probably just been driving faster than I thought. Then I checked the GPS. It showed one long stretch of highway ahead and a small gas station about 22 miles away. That was fine, and I kept driving. A few minutes later, I saw a green road sign pass by on the right. Henderson, 18. I barely paid attention to it. The road stayed straight. Dark, empty. 10 more minutes passed. Then I saw the same sign again. Henderson, 18. I actually looked in the rearview mirror after I passed it, like maybe I'd misread the first one. Same green sign, same white letters, same dent on the bottom corner. A cold little feeling moved through my chest. It didn't make sense, but I immediately came up with explanations anyway. Maybe there were 2 Henderson exits. Maybe one sign had been for east and one for west. Maybe I was more tired than I thought. I turned the radio off and sat up straighter. The silence in the car felt bigger after that. I checked the GPS again. The gas station was still ahead. 22 miles. I stared at the screen for a second. Then I looked back at the road. Then at the screen again. It still said 22 miles. I actually laughed once under my breath, but it wasn't because anything was funny. It was the kind of laugh you make when your brain doesn't like what it's seeing and tries to shrug it off. Maybe the map hadn't refreshed. I drove another 5 minutes, checked again, 22 miles. That's when I felt real unease for the first time. The road hadn't changed at all. Same cracked white lane markings, same dark fields on either side. Same telephone poles running alongside the highway like they were keeping pace with me. Even the moon looked fixed in the same spot ahead, low and pale behind thin clouds. I picked up my phone to check the map separately. No signal. Not even one bar. That was annoying, but not terrifying. The highway's new surface in the middle of nowhere. Still, I didn't like being stuck with the car GPS. I pressed the gas a little harder. The station was only 22 miles away. I reached it slowly. Another road sign appeared in the headlights. My hands tightened on the steering wheel before I even read it. Henderson, 18. Same sign, same dent, same slight tilt toward the road. This time, I didn't laugh. I felt my mouth go dry. I slowed the car and looked around, like I'd somehow missed an exit or taken a loop without noticing. But there was nothing. No turnoffs, no crossroads, no buildings. Just the highway stretching ahead in a perfectly straight line. I pulled onto the shoulder. The engine idled softly. My headlights lit up the road ahead, and beyond that was just darkness. And I rolled the window down. Cold night air rushed in. No insects. No distant traffic. No barking dogs from some far-off farmhouse. Nothing. It was so quiet that the sound of my engine suddenly felt too loud.
The shadows are moving in the dark.
I opened the GPS
Don't
again.
stop. It's watching.
The little blue arrow showing my car sat on the highway. The gas station icon still hovered ahead.
Alone.
22 miles. I whispered, "What the hell?" No answer, obviously.
22
I put
miles,
the car
just
back
get
in
back.
drive.
Come on,
What
move
else
faster!
was I supposed to do?
Why won't
I kept
most spur
going.
change?
At 12:58
Can't kick
a.m.,
this
my
anymore.
gas light came on. That made my pulse jump in a way the road signs hadn't. Because creepy was one thing. Running out of gas in the middle of nowhere was real. I started looking harder at everything outside the windshield, searching for any sign of life. A side road, a house, a billboard, anything. Nothing. Just black fields and dark sky. Then, way ahead in the distance, I saw lights. Small at first, yellowish, low to the ground. For a moment, I almost laughed again. It had to be the gas station. It had to be. I kept driving, eyes fixed on the lights. They got a little bigger, then smaller, then bigger again. Like they weren't standing still. Like they were moving with me somehow, always staying the same impossible distance away. I checked the GPS. The gas station was still there, 22 miles. At that point, I knew something was wrong. Not in a vague way, not in a this feels weird way. Wrong. The kind of wrong your body understands before your brain does. My hands were sweaty on the wheel. My shoulders were tight. I kept checking the mirrors even though there were no headlights behind me. Then the radio turned on by itself. I almost drove off the road. 1 second the car was silent, and the next there was a loud burst of static through the speakers. I grabbed for the volume knob and turned it down fast, heart slamming in my chest. But beneath the static, there was a voice. Weak. Cracking in and out. A man's voice. If anyone can hear this, I froze. The voice was broken by interference, but it was definitely there. Don't stop. Don't turn around. The static swallowed the signal for a second. Then the voice came back, louder. You've already passed the sign, haven't you? Every hair on my arms stood up. I stared at the dark road ahead. The sign. Henderson, 18. My foot slowly eased off the gas. Then the radio crackled one last time, and the voice said, as clearly as if he were sitting in the passenger seat beside me, "It sees you now." Part 2. For a few seconds after the radio went silent, I didn't move. My hands were locked on the steering wheel, and my eyes were fixed on the road ahead. But my brain felt like it had completely stalled. "It sees you now." The words kept replaying in my head. I told myself it had to be a coincidence. Some random emergency broadcast. Maybe a truck driver messing around on a radio frequency. But deep down, I knew that wasn't true. Because the man on the radio had said something very specific. "You've already passed the sign, haven't you?" And I had. 3 times. I pressed the accelerator again. The engine responded immediately, but something about the road felt wrong now. The headlights stretched forward across the asphalt, but the highway almost looked flatter. Like the distance in front of me wasn't moving the way it should. Oh, and I checked the GPS again. Still the same. Gas station, 22 miles. My gas light had been on for 5 minutes now. The needle was dangerously close to empty. I gripped the wheel tighter and kept driving. Then something appeared in my rearview mirror. Headlights. For the first time in nearly an hour, there was another car on the road. A pair of small white lights far behind me. Relief flooded through me instantly. "Thank God," I muttered. I slowed slightly, hoping they would catch up. But the strange thing was, the lights never got closer. They stayed exactly the same distance behind me, not fading, not approaching. Just there, following. I sped up. The lights sped up too. I slowed again. They slowed. My heart began pounding harder. "Okay, that's not normal," I whispered. I changed lanes slightly to see if the car would pass. It didn't. The lights stayed directly behind me. Then suddenly they disappeared. Just gone. No turning off, no passing, nothing. The road behind me was empty again. I looked forward quickly. And that's when I saw it. The green road sign. My stomach dropped before I even read it. The headlights illuminated the letters as I passed. Henderson, 18. The exact same dent, the exact same crooked angle. I slammed my hand against the steering wheel. No. This time I didn't keep driving. I slowed down immediately and pulled the car to the side of the road. The engine idled softly in the quiet night. The highway stretched ahead in both directions, perfectly empty. No headlights, no buildings, no movement, just darkness. I grabbed my phone again, still no signal. Even the GPS screen glowed on the dashboard. Gas station, 22 miles. I felt something tightening in my chest because I realized something I hadn't noticed before. The GPS arrow wasn't moving. Not really. The road under it looked like it was scrolling slightly, but the arrow itself stayed almost perfectly in the same spot. Like the system thought my car wasn't moving forward at all. I stepped out of the car. The night air out here in the middle of Kansas, you should hear something. Wind across fields, insects, distant trucks, but there was nothing. Just the faint ticking sound of my cooling engine. I turned slowly in a full circle. Black fields, dark sky. Long, empty highway disappearing into the distance. And then I noticed something else. The road behind my car looked wrong. The headlights illuminated the asphalt for about 30 yards. But after that, the road just faded into darkness. Not
20 miles, this can't be it! Come on, move faster!
The highway simply stopped existing past
Why
that
won't
point.
Rosberg change?
I blinked a few times,
Can't
trying
take
to
this
focus.
anymore!
Maybe my eyes were playing tricks on me. Then the radio inside the car crackled again. I turned around quickly. The headlights flickered slightly as the engine idled. The static came back. I rushed back to the driver's seat. The same man's voice came through. This time he sounded more desperate. I told you not to stop. My chest tightened. Who are you? I said aloud. The voice continued, ignoring my question. Once you stop, it gets closer. A wave of panic rushed through me. What gets closer? Static burst through the speakers. Then the man whispered something that made my stomach twist. Look at the side of the road. Slowly. I turned my head toward the passenger window. At first I didn't see anything, just dark fields stretching into the distance. Then my eyes adjusted. And I saw it. Standing just beyond the edge of the headlights. A figure. Tall. Thin. Completely still. Too far away to see its face, but close enough to know it was watching me. My breath caught in my throat. The voice on the radio whispered one last thing. Don't let it get in front of you. And the figure beside the road started walking toward the highway. Part 3. Final. The figure stepped onto the road. Slowly. Not running. Not rushing. Just walking calmly toward the center of the highway like it had all the time in the world. My heart started pounding so hard it felt like it might burst out of my chest. I slammed the car into drive. The tires squealed slightly as I pulled back onto the road and sped forward. In the rearview mirror, I saw the figure standing in the headlights for a moment. Tall, thin, completely still again. Then the darkness swallowed it. I pressed harder on the gas. The engine roared as the speed climbed past 80. I didn't care anymore. I just wanted distance between me and whatever that thing was. The GPS screen still glowed on the dashboard. I glanced at it. Gas station, 22 miles. I almost screamed. How is that possible? I had been driving for nearly an hour. The gas needle was barely above empty now. I looked back at the road. The same endless strip of asphalt stretched ahead. Then the radio crackled again. The man's voice came back, weaker now. Are you still driving? Yes, I shouted. What the hell is happening? Static burst through the speakers before his answer came. You're stuck. My stomach tightened. What do you mean stuck? That highway doesn't go anywhere anymore. The words hit me like ice water. Once you pass the Henderson sign 3 times, you're already inside it. Inside what? For a moment, the radio went silent. Then the man whispered, "The road that doesn't end." I looked ahead again. The headlights cut through the darkness, illuminating the empty highway. And then something appeared far ahead. Headlights. Another car. Relief exploded through me. Finally, another driver. The car was coming toward me in the opposite lane. As it got closer, I slowed slightly. Maybe they knew where the gas station was. Maybe they had a phone signal. Maybe they could explain what the hell was going on. The approaching headlights grew brighter. Closer. Closer. Then the radio suddenly screamed with static. The man's voice shouted over it. Don't let it pass you. My stomach dropped. What? If it passes you, you take its place. My hands tightened on the steering wheel. The car ahead kept coming. Its headlights were almost blinding now, but something felt wrong. Very wrong. Because the car wasn't slowing down. And as it got closer, I noticed something terrifying. There was no driver. The driver's seat was empty. The headlights filled my windshield. The car was seconds away from passing. Panic exploded through my chest. I slammed the accelerator. The engine screamed as my car surged forward. The empty car rushed past me at the exact same moment. For a split second, I looked through its windshield, and I saw something in the passenger seat. A man. Thin, pale. His face pressed against the glass. Smiling. Then the car disappeared behind me. The radio crackled softly. The man's voice returned, calmer now. Good. I was breathing so hard I could barely speak. What happens if it passes me? The voice answered quietly. You become the next driver. A cold shiver ran down my spine. You keep driving forever, until someone else arrives. I stared at the road ahead. The gas needle dropped to E. The engine sputtered slightly. My heart sank. I'm almost out of gas. The radio was silent for a moment. Then the man spoke again. Don't stop. But I can't. Don't stop. The engine sputtered again. The car jerked slightly. My headlights flickered.
I'm out here.
Then something appeared ahead. Lights, bright ones. Buildings, a gas station.
20
I
miles
almost
to get
cried
back.
with relief.
Come on,
The
move faster.
GPS screen changed.
Why won't
Gas
Rosberg
station,
change?
0 miles.
I can't take this
I pulled
anymore.
into the parking lot and slammed the brakes. The engine died the second I stopped. The radio went silent. For a moment, I just sat there breathing. The gas station looked normal. Bright lights, empty parking lot, closed convenience store. Just a normal roadside station. I stepped out of the car slowly. The cold night air hit me again. I looked back toward the highway. It stretched away into the darkness like any other road. No strange signs, no empty cars, no tall figures standing in the fields. Just silence. My hands were still shaking. After that, I got back in the car and drove away. The GPS worked normally again. Phone signal returned. And within an hour, I reached the next town. I told myself it was over, that I'd escaped whatever that road was. But 3 weeks later, I heard something on the radio while driving home from work. A faint signal cutting through static. A man's voice, desperate. If anyone can hear this, my hands tightened on the steering wheel. The voice continued. Don't stop. The radio crackled again. Then the man whispered something that made my blood run cold. You've already passed the sign, haven't you? And outside my windshield, I saw the green road sign again. Henderson, 1 year.